Eric from Birmingham, Alabama said, I saw you went to Alabama this week. Any good stories about the Tide that you could share? Yes. So a couple of things struck me. I spent the day there yesterday. Yeah, so Wednesday. So I spent the day down there yesterday. They are very blessed at the linebacker position. This time last year, in fact, this time 6 months ago, they thought linebacker could be a real big weakness on that team. And because of an unfortunate circumstance, Deontay Lawson getting hurt, it's led to him coming back this year. And then because of how jacked up the rules are right now in terms of eligibility, Justin Jefferson has been able to come back this year. So you're talking about a position unit that went from what they thought would be a weakness to a strength of that team, and that's not overlooked in that building. I would also say there is a pretty supreme confidence at Alabama that they just killed it in this recruiting class. And I think you'll see a lot of those true freshmen from that class on the field in very, very meaningful spots for them this fall. So that's from a roster standpoint what I noticed. You know what? Also, because I saw in the live chat, someone was asking about a sleeper player for them. Keon Keeley is one I'd circle. Keon Keeley's a former 5-star kid, really highly rated. And you have this tendency in this world to look at a 5-star kid, and if he doesn't come in and pop on the scene immediately, you kind of forget about him. Keon Keeley didn't pop on the scene his first couple of seasons, so people have really forgotten about him. This time last year, I didn't know if he'd still be there. So what happened was what we talked with Rich Rodriguez about the other day. If you haven't gone and listened to our conversation with Rich Rodriguez, West Virginia head coach, formerly in the running for the Alabama job, but he has since returned to West Virginia. But he talked about how his entire philosophy on coaching and developing players changed because he used to believe, in his words, if he won't bite as a puppy, he won't bite as a dog. So he told a story about how there was a kid who they thought had it in him, but he was just soft. And he was a wide receiver, but he was soft and he didn't want anything to do with blocking. And all of a sudden, over the span of like 3 or 4 days one week, after they pushed him and pushed him and pushed him, somehow he just snapped and became the most devastating stalk blocker on that team, became a physical presence at the position, became a team leader, and he said, that forever changed how I viewed players. I will not write them off anymore. It's up to us to, if we recruited them and we evaluated them, we need to bring it out of them. Unless we're just dead wrong about the kid, we got to find a way to bring it out of him. That, I think, has kind of happened with Keon Keeley around there. Doesn't mean he's going to be an All-American, but that kid really, really wants to be at Alabama. And I'd just be interested to see, because I think he'll get a shot this fall. I think he'll play some for him this fall. But in the overarching compartment, from what you can talk about at least, it's funny to look at the makeup of their staff, I guess, is what stands out a lot. So Kalen DeBoer is the head coach there. You'll actually hear this in the conversation we post with him on the channel on Friday. But it's always important to know what your weaknesses are as a coach, as a leader, and then make sure you supplement in the hires that you make around you, which just means if you're not the kind of person that goes at someone's throat, you better make sure you got 3 or 4 on your staff who will. Hey, quick timeout. Check and see if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you're not, I humbly ask that you click subscribe. It's free. It doesn't sign you up for anything. What it does is it helps us keep this show free so we can just do college football year-round. All right, back to the clip. They've got 5 or 6 on their staff who will, and it really complements Kalen DeBoer's style. He's not a church mouse, but he also doesn't carry himself like Nick Saban did. So it's okay because he's got some field generals on his coaching staff. They're actually really, really good on that coaching staff. So that's what I notice. I noticed there is a surprising amount still around there of holdovers from the Nick Saban era. That's atypical. Most times when a coach takes over a major program, there's a total flush done. I don't just mean coaching staff. I mean recruiting, player personnel, right up to the folks who mind the front desk and sports and information people, and sometimes there's a complete wash. And I mean, they were wise enough when they came in to say, all right, the best of all time who was just here thought that these people were good enough. So we're not just going to wipe the slate clean here. And they've been really strategic about who they've kept around there. And it kind of makes sense when you get to know who those people are that they kept around. So yesterday, we did our sit down with DeBoer at 9 a.m. And boy, he had a nice appointment afterwards. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell that. He can tell that story if he wants to. There are perks of being a head coach in the SEC, man. That's all I'll say. Big perks. You think that the comparing of salaries would be how you measure up how coaches compare to one another? Nope. Access to certain things. That's how SEC coaches measure themselves against each other. But anyway, I stuck around. So he had to get out of there. I stuck around. I went and worked out down in Bama's weight room. And the funny thing is the president was going to be on campus. I think they had graduation today. So the president was due to come in because he spoke at Bama's graduation, not of the university, president of the United States. So Secret Service was there doing their usual lock everything down, put up all the barricades and barriers, which is a normal scene there. It's not even like the first time recently that I've been around there that Secret Service has been there. You kind of get to know the guy. Hey, Jeff, it's you again. Well, the counter assault division, I believe it was in the weight room when I was down there. I've never had a safer workout in my life. It was great. It was just phenomenal. Great chest day, and never had to look over my shoulder once. So that was just, you're looking around, and you got a couple of baseball players back there, and there's Secret Service too. Great workout at Alabama. I just think in general, if you told yourself 5 years ago, after the 2023 season, Saban's going to retire, what do you think it'll look like a year later? I would have thought there's no way they're ever going to smoothly transition away from him. The price you pay to have had Nick Saban as your head coach is it's going to be really rocky and tumultuous when he leaves. And there's a huge power struggle, I would think, and everyone wants a say in who the next head coach is going to be. Some of the same mess they had in their lap before he got there, maybe it reemerges. So you never would have known who Kalen DeBoer was at that time is the point. But if you could flash forward 5 years and see a year after Saban's gone that this is the status of the program, you would have signed up for that in a heartbeat. You would have been thrilled. So that's kind of how it feels around there right now. I think there'll be a factor in the SEC race this year. I was looking at an article on a certain website today, and it said Georgia and Texas and everyone else in the SEC, that's one way to look at the league. That's not necessarily how I see it, but that's one way to look at the league.